Welcome back, my crafty friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. Got a couple of quick things I want to share with you and can't wait to get started. So, here we go. So, today, what I want to share with you is yet another patriotic craft. I had some scrap 2x4s left over, from that bathroom reno that I've been telling you about. Well, I have a ton of scrap wood left over, and I asked my husband to help me cut it into lengths. The two longer lengths are 10 inches, the shorter lengths are 7 inches, and then I used a 4x4 block, which is literally just 3.5 by 3.5. I'm going to use my Nautica, Nautica, which is the blue color, and these are all the folk art chalk colors, and then my white, of course, in chalk, and then my homemade red that I made with just acrylic paint and oh my gosh, I forgot the word. Calcium carbonate. There we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my block with the white chalk paint, because actually that's going to actually be my blue star field, but I want to paint the background on it white so that I can add my stars and then paint it in the blue Nautica color. I'm going to paint one long one 10-inch and one 7-inch, one long and one short, with white chalk paint, and I'm literally just painting around the edges, the long edges of each. I'm not painting the flat surface because when we put these together, I'm going to be using my Titebond wood glue, and I want to make sure that I'm getting wood to wood so that it sticks very well. It bonds to each other once it's completely dry. So I'm going to have one long one white, one short one white, and then I'm going to paint one long one and one short one in my red color. And as you can guess, this is going to be a flag. Now, I had seen someone do this with just a 2x4 standing up, but I wanted to make it a little bit chunkier. I want to put this on my front porch, and I want to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere because we have been having some gale force winds with these thunderstorms lately. So I wanted to make sure that it was heavy enough that it wasn't going to go anywhere. Now, while I set my white painted pieces to the side to dry, I'm going to use my homemade chalk paint. And this is just, like I said, just red acrylic paint mixed with 2 tablespoons of calcium carbonate, mixed real well. And I had ordered some of these jars because I like to make my own chalk paint, because a lot of times I want a custom color and I need something to keep it in because I want it to stay, pliable and usable. So I ordered these little containers, and they are perfect for this. They make just the right amount, and once you seal them, it keeps the paint so that you can use it for a lot of different projects. But I like to mix paints and come up with some custom colors every once in a while. Now that my white chalk paint is dry, I'm going to use these little stencil stars. If you'll recall from a previous video that I did, I cut out a reverse stencil where I took the stars out and used the negative space as a stencil on one of my other patriotic projects. So with the little stars that were left over, I'm going to place those on the field of white. And then once I have those all placed, I'm going to press them down very well, because this is stencil vinyl and it's very, very thin. So if you don't press it down well, you will not get a good result. So that's where you'll see me there pressing very hard down on that. And I'm just doing these in a series, 5s and 4s, 5s and 4s. And I know it's not the exact replica. Exact flag, colors of the flag. This is just a replica, just as decor for my home. No disrespect to the flag whatsoever. Once those are pressed on really well, I'm going to use my folk art chalk paint in the color Nautica. Now for the block, I'm going to paint the side that the stars are on all the way around. The only part I'm going to leave unpainted is where it will connect to the 2x4s, because again, I want wood to bond to wood. So I'm going to paint the field where the stars are, and then I'll paint two sides, the top and bottom. I'm going to leave one side, oh excuse me, the bottom I did not paint. The side I will, the side and the bottom I will leave blank so that I can put my wood glue directly on there. But I do paint the top and 3 of the sides. After those dry, I'm going to take my finger sander that I had ordered from Amazon forever ago, and I'm just going to use a 240 grit sandpaper and go around the sharp, those corners or sharp edges. They're not sharp. I actually sanded them so they wouldn't be sharp because I want that farmhouse look. But I'm going to take my finger sander and I'm going to gently, we'll say gently rough it up. The corners get a little bit hard to work out, but I gently rub all of the edges just to give it that distressed look. And this is just what I prefer for my crafts. I love this in my home decor. But if you would prefer to leave it without the distressing, just simply skip this part. Now that this is completely dry, I need to remove the little stencil stars from my block. And once I peel those away, that reveals the white stars behind. And then of course I'll have to go back and distress that portion just a little bit. Now that everything is dry and sanded, I'm going to use my Tide Bond, quick and thick Tide Bond to assemble my flag. I'm going to lay down my large white, the 10-inch board that was painted white, lay it down flat, apply my glue, and I just usually take just a tiny bit of water on the tip of my finger and spread that out so that it gets literally a full coverage so that wood will bond to wood. And then I just very carefully place my 10-inch red stripe on top of that, making sure that I meet the ends evenly and the sides, and then press down gently. Now it doesn't take long for this to start setting up, but I usually leave mine for a full 24 hours before I do anything with it. This is the blue star field, so on the bottom of that I'm going to be placing my glue, and again spreading it out with just a little bit of water on my fingertip to make sure that I cover the entire block. Now I'm going to take my shorter board, the 7-inch, that is painted white, and using the same method, I'm going to place it on top of the 10-inch red. That way I'll have red stripe, white stripe, red stripe, white stripe, and then the blue field. And placing my last stripe on the very top should be the solid red. So then I'm going to wipe that a little bit, make sure I don't have any glue oozing from anywhere, because I did use a generous amount. But now I'm going to finish this up by painting the top of my short red piece with my red chalk paint. I'll dry that up just a little bit, and then I will distress it to fit the rest of the decor. But this is what it looks like so far. Then I have one last thing that I want to do to it. I am going to use my Waverly Antique Wax watered down, and I'm going to antique this piece because that's the style that I like. If you don't like to do that, you don't like that old age grungy look, leave it just like it is. Seal it with a sealer, of course, if you're going to be putting it outside. And my sealer of choice for outside is the Helmsman water-based sealer. So using some biscuits from the Home Depot in size 10 and size 20, I'm going to recreate a patriotic flower that I saw on Patty J. Good's channel, and I want to create this as a pick to go in my flower arrangement. I'm also going to be using some 3 different size stars. I ordered these from in bulk at Temu. I'm going to be assembling those also in picks to go in my flower arrangement. Now that all of my pieces are painted and dried, I'm going to just assemble them using some hot glue, and this works very well on both the biscuits and the stars. I'm just going to form the flower with the red, white, and blue, and then the picks are just going to be stacked red, white, and blue. I'm going to take my skewers and stain them with a watered down Waverly Antique Wax, and then just put them together so that once they're done, I'll have some pretty picks to put in my flower arrangement. I didn't really like the way the can arrangement that I had made earlier turned out, so I'm going to redo it. First of all, I'm going to choose a piece of material in a pattern that I like, and then I will need to water down some of my Tight Bond Quick and Thick. I'm going to water that down, and then using a small roller, after I have my material sized and cut, I am going to roll on a line of glue at the top of the material so that it will adhere to the lip of the can. Then I'm going to use some of my clips that I got from the Dollar Tree just to hold that until it dries around the rim of the can, to make sure that I don't cut myself or anybody cut themselves if they were to touch it. Then using my roller and the watered down glue and some additional glue, I'm going to place the material on the can, smooth it down really nice with my hand, make a nice seam, and use hot glue to make sure that that adheres. And then I'm actually going to finish it off by gluing it at the very bottom with hot glue. And I like this pattern so much better. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking some of my red, white, and blue berry picks and I'm gluing them to a skewer so that they stick up into my flower arrangement nicely. I'm going to wrap the end around the skewer and glue it in place, and then I'm going to twirl the berry picks around a pencil and then place them in the flower arrangement that I made earlier. I didn't show that craft because I didn't like the way it turned out, so that's why I'm redoing it. When you see the finished product at the end, you'll see that I placed my patriotic flower and my star picks in my arrangement. And I had also picked up some little blue flowers from the Dollar Tree so that I could have a red, white, and blue arrangement. This last craft is going to be a quick one. I'm using an empty salt container and an empty sugar container to create two fireworks. I'm going to wrap them in some bright red glittery paper and then use some embellishments like ribbon, material, um, twine, all that sort of thing to create my fireworks. I'm going to use a piece of the thicker rope from Dollar Tree to create the wicks, and the wicks, to make them stand up like I want them to, I'm going to dip them in my Helmsman water-based clear sealer and let them dry and stiffen so that they will stand upright. Here I'm just using some of my clear elastic bands to wrap around the containers that will hold the paper in place until the glue has a chance to completely dry. And the last thing I'll do, I took my circular cutter and cut out two circles a little bit larger than the top and bottom with the same red paper. I'm going to cut these circles out and glue them on, and then I'll trim those off at the edge with my X-Acto knife. And I'm just going to use the same application for the sugar container. The sugar container is a little bit taller and not quite as wide, so it makes for two different firecrackers. So here are the 3 finished projects for today. You've got the American flag made out of 2x4s, boiled peanut can with a beautiful flower arrangement. I did add a bow and a tag that says Happy 4th, and then my very colorful firecrackers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I so look forward to seeing you again. If you're a subscriber, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Thanks, and I'll see you later.